Valentin Mankato boarded the salvage ship with the steady sea legs of a man who had spent the better part of his days on the water. His trim but hardened frame matched the tautness in his bearded face. Stepping purposefully aboard, he ignored the tending crewmen and marched straight to the wheelhouse. He entered an open door to find a muscular, bald man scanning the harbor with binoculars. His scalp, neck, and arms were covered with tattoos. He glanced at the intruder and set down the binoculars. "I would have come to see you in the morning." "We are playing with fire, Ilya Vasco," Mankato said, giving him a cold stare. "There can be no room for error in this operation. Now tell me what has happened." "The Crimean Star was attacked successfully as planned. All went well, except that the bridge was able to issue a brief call for help. There was nothing we could have done to prevent it." The bald man rubbed his neck, stroking the head of an octopus tattoo that climbed up from his shoulder. "It was just a single distress call, but it was answered by an American research ship, the Macedonia, which happened to be nearby. We tracked her on the radar as she responded. We boarded the freighter but could not locate the crate. It was not on the bridge as we had been led to believe. In no time, it seemed, the research ship appeared." "Our port informant in Sevastopol has not always been reliable," Mankato said. "Why didn't you radio the Americans from the freighter and tell them it was a false emergency?" "The research ship contacted the Turkish Coast Guard, and we knew they would soon arrive and investigate thoroughly." Mankato stared at him through dark eyes that burned with intensity, but he said nothing. "I took the assault crew off the freighter, affixed an external explosive to the stern, and stood off," Vasco said. "The Macedonia sent a few men aboard and tried to make for Istanbul. The explosive charge ended the attempt. The boarders actually did us a favor, as they brought the ship into shallow waters before she sank." "Did they find and remove the container?" Vasco shook his head. "They wouldn't have known to look, nor did they have the time to remove it. They had to evacuate after the explosives detonated, as the ship sank quickly." "So you just monitored the site?" "We stood off about 10 miles while the search and rescue vessels arrived and scoured the area at daylight. We moved back in and stood over the Kerch site for some practice drills until it got dark and the rescue ships abandoned the area." "The Kerch? You remember. We worked her about 10 years ago. Pulled up an anchor and a steam condenser, if I recall. She's a Russian destroyer, sank in World War I. She's sitting less than a kilometer from the Crimean Star. I've got something to show you from her down in the machine shop." "I don't care about that," Mankato said. "What about the uranium?" "We wasted a lot of time searching the holds before one of our divers found it in the engine room. He was due to surface, so we had to send down 2 more men. In the meantime, we picked up a radar contact headed toward the site. I didn't want to leave empty-handed again, so I dropped the claw and opened up the stern deck. The divers bounced in and dragged it within range, and we grabbed it with the claw." "You got it?" "We had to move fast. We barely got the divers up when we realized the approaching vessel was the same American ship, the Macedonia. They radioed us and said the Bulgarian police were aboard. We short-hoisted the claw, still holding the crate, and moved off to the Kerch site and waited. They dropped the submersible on the freighter, then went snooping around the site. We pulled in the crate, then roughed up the submersible." "What do you mean?" "We dropped the claw back on the Kerch, and their submersible was there poking around. They must have seen the damage to the stern of the Crimean Star and realized we'd taken something. I decided we needed to buy more."